Welcome everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the new chapter number 12, that is service costing. Okay, now what is the peculiarity of this chapter? I have already told you. This chapter is not a new chapter for you. Whatever concepts you have learned from chapter number 1 to chapter number 11, basically on absorption costing. Okay, those principles you are going to extend to the service industry. If you remember, I had already told you, whatever you are learning from chapter 1 to chapter 11, the main focus is on what the manufacturing industries, okay, or manufacturing entities. Product costing was the main objective for absorption costing when we dealt chapter 1 to chapter 11. Now the same principle, same logic, same fundamentals you are going to apply for a service industry. That is what we are seeing, or we are going to learn in chapter 12. Okay, so keep in mind, this is not a new chapter. You are not going to learn about any new concepts, nothing. Okay, it's all whatever you have learned in your absorption costing, those principles you are going to apply to a service industry or an entity in the service industry. Okay, so that is service costing. So service costing is all about applying the principles of absorption costing. Mainly we are following absorption costing here. Absorption costing. Where do we apply these principles? We are applying these principles of absorption costing to service industry or entities in the service industry. Okay, so that is what we are going to learn in this chapter 12. Now let's move to the material. Okay, so the first and foremost topic which we are going to learn, of course this is something which you have already learned in chapter 1, okay, is about computation of cost unit. Now you know what is cost unit. We have already learned about the concept of cost object, and every cost object will be expressed in terms of cost unit. Okay, so for example, if you are selling a particular good, let's say sugar, you are selling sugar, then the cost object will be sugar. Okay, and what will be the cost unit? The cost unit corresponding to sugar will be either kilogram or ton or whatever you are actually weighing this in terms of its weighing measures, like kilogram or what you call as the ton, etc. Now if the cost object is oil, then the unit of cost will be liters. Okay, sometimes even you use the kilograms also. Okay, now when you take any other matter, let's say when you take automobile, okay, motor cars, what will be the cost unit? The object will be, cost object will be motor cars, but cost unit will be what? Cost unit will be numbers. Okay, so depending upon the type of each product, you will have a unit of cost or cost unit, what we call as. Okay, and those things we have learned in chapter 1. Now the same principles you are adopting or you are extending to service sector. In service sector, the object, cost object is what? Cost object is the service that is offered. Okay, the service what is offered. Now when you say that yes, this particular entity is offering this particular service, there also you have to express that service in some unit terms, and that measure which is used to indicate the service industry cost object is what is known as service cost unit. So service cost unit is used for expressing the service cost object. Again, in chapter number 1, when you saw about the different cost objects and cost units, we have taken few examples relating to service industry also. So the same thing. So let's see what all things are going to be there in service cost unit in various service industries. Okay, so let's take one by one. Now, first service industry is hotels. When you talk about hotels, what is the cost object? The cost object is the service that is provided by the hotels. It could be accommodation. Mainly when you talk about hotels, it will be accommodation. When you talk about restaurant, it will be the food that is supplied. So in hotel, the major service will be what? The rooms or accommodation that is provided. And what is the unit of cost in case of hotels? In the unit of cost in case of hotels will be room days. Okay, so here if you see this cost unit, okay, it is a combination of two things. What is the combination? There is room. as well as there is days. Okay, you cannot say that the cost unit is per room, because if you simply say per room, the tariff changes based on the number of days you are using. Okay, if you are taking, let's say, a suite room, okay, you have taken a suite room. Now that suite room, if you are using for 1 day, it will be a tariff. When you use it for 2 days, there will be a different tariff. So the tariff will change depending upon the number of days. So whenever you express the tariff for a accommodation which is provided in hotel, you have to say what is the tariff per room per day. So there are two components in that. One is per room, then per day. You are combining these two. Okay, you are combining per room and per day, and you are saying that it is per room day. Clear? So I hope this principle is very clear to everyone, because you may get questions on this. Okay, so I'm repeating. When you take a hotel, okay, one of the service that is provided by hotel is accommodation. Okay, accommodation will be provided in different types of rooms. Different rooms. So when you express the cost unit, there will be two parameters. One is type of room as well as the number of days. If you simply say that the cost unit or the tariff is rupees 5,000 per room, there will be a confusion. What will be the confusion? You will not know whether this 5,000 is for 1 day or for 2 days or 3 days, you don't know, or for even for 1 month. That is not clear. So what you have to say, you have to say 5,000 is the tariff per room day. Okay, per room day, which means what? This room day is a composite cost unit. Why do you say that it is a composite cost unit? It is called as composite cost unit because it has got two parts. Which are these two parts? Room as well as day. So room stands for per room and day stands for per day. So per room plus per day is combined together to get it as per room day. Similarly, let's take the example of a transport industry where you are using passenger transport. You are providing passenger transport service. So what will be the cost unit? Here also you will have two parameters. One is per passenger. Okay, if you say that the cost of travel is rupees 100 per passenger, this 100 rupees may be for 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers, or it could be 50 kilometers, or it could be for 100 kilometers. That is not clear. So here you have to say what is the charge per passenger as well as per kilometer. Okay, unit, it will be per kilometer. So per passenger plus per kilometer, you combine these two, it will be per passenger kilometer. Similarly, if it is goods transport, you will have, it is not per passenger, it will be the quantity of the goods which is transported. Okay, so you have to say per ton or per kilogram, whatever. So here you have per ton plus per kilometer. So combined or composite cost unit will be per ton kilometer. Friends, this is how you identify composite service units. Okay, so composite service cost units. Cost units. So you, whenever you are asked to find out a composite service cost unit, you have to see what all are the factors that will change. Okay, if it is a hotel, then per room per day. If it is a hospital, then per patient per day. Okay, if it is a vehicle, passenger transport, per passenger per kilometer. Now combine these parameters. you will get the composite service cost unit. Okay, now let's see the examples which are given. So hotels, it is per room plus per day, so it is per room day. Now when it comes to passenger transport, okay, it is passenger transport, it will be passenger per kilometer. See here, there is some problem with what is given here. So in case of transport services, it will be per passenger kilometer. Okay. Okay. Now, when it comes to goods carriage, in goods carriage, it will be per quintal kilometer or per ton kilometer. We have already seen those cases. Okay. Now, in case of electricity supply, what will be the unit you are consuming and what will be the timing for which you are consuming? These two should be added. So the unit will be kilowatt. Okay. So per kilowatt and how much time you are using, that is also material. So per hour. So combine these two together, per kilowatt hour. Okay. So it will be per kilowatt hour. Now, when you see hospital, it is patient per day or room per day or per bed, like that, or per procedure, etc. Because hospital is like a supermarket. You get various things there. You get OP consultation, IP consultation, then diagnostic services, then you have what you call as the procedures which is done, surgeries, then a lot of things, nursing care, etc., etc. So for each service, there will be separate service units, cost units. Okay. Now canteens. In canteens, it will be per item, per meal, etc. Cinema, it will be per ticket. These are single cost units. Okay. Hotel, guest days or room days, etc. It's a composite one. Then banks or financial institution, it will be per transaction, per services, etc. Okay, friends, there are some problem with this table, so please bear with that. Okay, now we have already seen how to identify this composite cost unit. Just we will go through what is given in the material. Sometimes two measurement units are combined together to know what is the cost of service or operation. These are called composite service units. Example, in case of transportation, per passenger per kilometer. So you get per passenger kilometer. Then hospital per patient days. Similarly, hotels, it will be per guest days. Okay, so you are combining two cost units to get a composite cost units. Okay, now the computation of composite cost unit. Okay, now the composite cost units may be computed in two terms or two ways. One is the absolute or weighted average basis. Second one, you have commercial or simple average basis. I will explain these absolute or weighted average basis as well as commercial or simple average basis with the help of an example. Okay, let's take the question or the example given here. Let's take this. A lorry starts with a load of 20 metric ton of goods from station A. It unloads 8 metric ton in station B and balance goods in station C. On return trip, it reaches station A with a load of 16 metric ton loaded at station C. The distance between A to B, B to C, and C to A are 80 kilometer, 120 kilometer, 160 kilometer respectively. Compute absolute metric ton kilometer and commercial metric ton kilometer. Okay, so we will just see what is given here. See, you have 3 points. One is the location A or station A. Then you have station B. Then you have station C. Okay, a lorry starts from A to B. Then from B, it goes to C. Then from C, it comes to A. That is the path. Now, what is the distance between A to B? A to B, it is 80 kilometer and B to C is 120 kilometer. and C2A, it is 160 kilometer. Okay. Now, how much weight it was carrying, the lorry was carrying when it was traveling at each location? The total weight is not same because it is carrying some weights from A, which is getting unloaded at B. There may be further adding of the weight from B, then it will reach C. Like that, it goes on. Okay. So if you see the weight, lorry starts from A with 20 metric ton and it reaches station B where it is unloading 8 metric ton. Okay, so what happens? So from A, it is going to be over the spirit, there is 20 metric ton weight, but 8 metric ton is loaded at B. So when the lorry continues from B, its size is only 20 minus 8, that is 12 metric ton. And this 12 metric ton is unloaded at station C. Now, from C to A, it starts with a weight of 16 metric ton. Okay. So what you have here is, you know what is the distance traveled by this lorry, and you know what was the weight it was carrying over this distance. Okay. Now you have to find out absolute metric ton kilometer as well as commercial metric ton kilometer. Okay. So let's find out the weighted average or absolute basis metric ton. So absolute or weighted average. Okay. So what we need is, you need to find out per metric ton kilometer. Per metric ton kilometer. Now, how can you do that? To do this, what you need to do, you have to, okay, you have to add the kilometer, multiply this kilometer run with the weight at each location. Okay, so that will be from A to B, it is 80 kilometer into 20 metric ton, plus B to C, 120 kilometer into 12 metric ton, plus A to C, it is 160 kilometer into 16 metric ton. So that is equal to, okay, 80 into 20, 1600 plus 120 into 12, 1440, then 160 into 16, it is 2560 metric ton kilometer. That is equal to 1600 plus 1440 plus 2560. So 5600 metric ton kilometer it has what? So the total distance it has carried, okay, can be expressed as, 1 minute, can be expressed as 5600 metric ton kilometer. There is some issue with the connection. Let me just have a look at it. Okay, so this is the total kilometer into weight. Now, if you want to find out the weight carried or average weight carried per kilometer, then what you have to do? You have to take it as 5600 metric ton kilometer divided by total distance. That is equal to 5600 divided by, okay, total distance will be 80 plus 120 plus 160. So you get 360. This is metric ton kilometer. This is kilometer. So that is equal to 5600 divided by 360. It was carrying 15.55 metric ton per kilometer. For each kilometer, it was carrying on an average of 15.55 metric ton. That is the average weight that was carried by each vehicle over the total distance, weighted average. Okay, now this is absolute weighted average. Now you have to see what is the commercial or simple average. Commercial or simple average. In commercial or simple average, what you do is it's very simple. You don't use any weights. Okay, here you have used the weights. What was the weight? The kilometer multiplied by the weight is the weighted average. So this kilometer act as the weight. Okay, this was the weight used, whereas this is the quantity. Okay, now when you apply simple average, you don't have to take the weighted average. It will be simple average. So total weight carried per kilometer is equal to total weight carried divided by total distance traveled. Okay, and what will be the amount? The amount will be, that is equal to 20 metric ton plus 12 metric ton plus 16 metric ton divided by 16, not 160, 16. Okay, now this is the total. And how many routes you had? You had actually 3 routes, 1, 2, 3. So divided by 3, that is equal to 48 divided by 3, that is 16 metric ton. Okay, it was the average. And this is the simple average. In simple average, you divide it by the number of instances. And here the number of instances is 3. There are 3 routes: A to B, one route; B to C, another route; C to A, another route. So 3 units. So it is 48 divided by 3, 16. Okay. Now, if you want to find out this is only the average, what you call average weight it has carried. Now, if you want the average weight carried, okay, for the kilometers, then what you have to do? You have to take average weight into total distance. So that is equal to 16 metric ton into, what is the total distance? Total distance is 360 kilometer. So 16 into 360, it will be 5760 metric ton kilometer. Okay. See, here there is one. This should not be, the denominator is not total weight. That is the formula for computing the weighted average. So for simple average, it will be total weight carried divided by total number of routes traveled. Okay. So average weight carried for the total kilometers. This is nothing but the weight kilometers traveled. That is 5760 metric ton kilometer. So in the first case, it is 5600. Here it is 5760. Okay. So this is the calculation. I hope the concept of simple average as well as weighted average, composite service units, it's clear to everyone. Okay, now we are moving to the next part, the concept of equivalent cost unit or equivalent service unit. Now, this also let's try to understand with the help of an example. Okay, let's see this example. Illustration. A hotel has 3 types of suite room for its customers. That is standard, deluxe, and luxurious. So 3 types: standard, deluxe, and luxurious. Now, the number of rooms that are available under each type of suite and the tariff that is also given. Okay, in case of standard, okay, there are 100 rooms and room tariff, let's say this is the standard room tariff. Okay, now in case of deluxe, you have 50 rooms, but the tariff is 2.5 times the standard room. So what will be the tariff of standard suite? Let's say this is X. So the tariff of deluxe will be 2.5x. Okay. Now, in the case of luxurious, you have 30 rooms. It is twice the rate of deluxe suites. Deluxe suites is 2.5. So 2.5 into 2x. So that is 5x. Okay. Now, what is the requirement? The requirement is to compute the equivalent cost unit. Okay. Now, how you have to do how you have to compute in the equivalent unit? See, here you have 3 types of suite rooms: standard, deluxe, and luxurious. Even though these 3 are different types, okay, each can be converted into a standard suite room. What is the standard here? You have the standard suite. Standard suite can be taken as a unit or base. Okay, base room or base type. Now, deluxe is equivalent to 2.5 of base room, whereas luxurious is equivalent to 5 times the base room. Okay, depending upon the tariff. Now, if that is the case, how much equivalent rooms you can identify? Okay, how many equivalent rooms can be identified here? If you see, equivalent number of suite rooms. If you take the base as the standard rooms, okay, you have standard room, you have 100 numbers, and this is available for 360 days. Okay, is it given to be 360? No, you can take it as to be 360 or 365 depending upon your assumptions. So I'm taking 360 here. So this will be equivalent to 36,000 room days. Okay, whereas your deluxe room, how many deluxe rooms you have? You have 50 deluxe rooms, right? Yeah, 50. And that is also available for 360 days. Okay, so this will be equivalent to 50 into 360, that is 18,000 room days. Similarly, when you see the luxurious room, you have 30 rooms, 360 days. You get a total of 360 into 30. 10,800 room days. Now, if you convert that into equivalent units, equivalent room days, this is the standard or base is taken to be standard. So this is equivalent to 36,000 into 1. So 36,000 itself. But when you come to here, 18,000, it is equivalent to 18,000 into 2.5. That is 18,000 into 2.5 will be 45,000. And the next one, it is 10,800 into 5. 10,800 into 5 will be 54,000. So if you see the total equivalent number room days, this is equal to 36,000 plus 45,000 plus 54,000. That is 135,000 room days. This is the equivalent number of room days. Now here what we have done, we have taken the standard room as the basis and we converted the deluxe room as well as luxurious room in equivalent to the standard rooms. So each deluxe room was equivalent to 2.5 standard room and each luxurious room is equal to 5 standard room. So based on that units, we converted that. Now you can do the reverse also. You can convert standard room and deluxe room in terms of luxurious room. That also can be done. So let's see how it can be done. Okay. So we are taking the base is equal to luxurious room. Okay. So you have standard you have 36,000 room days. Then deluxe you have 80,000 itself. Then you have luxurious will be 10,800 room days. Now when you compute equivalent room days, where the base is luxurious room, 10,800, that will be equal, each room day will be equivalent to 1 itself. So luxurious, it will be 10,800 into 1, that is 10,800 room days. Now, in the case of the next one, each deluxe room is twice of or is 1/2 of luxurious room. Or I can say one luxurious room is equivalent to 2 deluxe room. Or one deluxe room will be 1.5 luxurious room. Okay, so one luxurious room is equal to 2 deluxe room, or one deluxe room is equal to 1/2 of luxurious room. So here it will be 18,000 deluxe room days, which is equivalent to 18,000 into 1/2. That is 9,000 luxurious room days. Similarly, standard room, one luxurious room is equal to 5 standard rooms, or one standard room is equal to 1/5 of luxurious room. So 36,000 standard room days is equal to 36,000 into 1/5. That is 7,200 room days. So you have total how much? 7,200 plus 9,000 plus 10,800. So total will be 27,000 room days. See, in the first case, the equivalent number of room days was 135,000. Here it is 27,000. Why there is such a difference? The difference is due to the change in the base. Here it is 135,000 standard room days, where here it is 27,000 luxurious room days. One luxurious room day is equivalent to 5 standard room days. So it will be 27,000 luxurious room days. Okay, that is equivalent to 27,000 into 5 standard room days, that is equal to 1,35,000 standard room days. Okay, so this is how you compute the equivalent number of units. Okay, and the same example you can, or the same example you can apply to hospitals, then hotels, etc. Wherever there are composite service cost units, the same analogy can be applied there also. Okay, now we are moving to the next part. What is the next part? The next part is on costing of specific service industries. Okay, now before that we will take a small break.